Hi, Democrats. Today is Friday. It's Friday, September 16th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Friday and happy birthday, Scott Hamilton. So I want to talk about the national news keeps pushing its way in and making me have to talk about it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the national news just so you guys know I'm paying attention, and because what's happening now is we're shoving a lot of things that used to be happening on a national level back to states because of states' rights. And so we need to know what's happening on a national level because it will be on our doorstep pretty soon. So the big thing, the big news, and you guys are all aware of it, but I have to say it out loud just because I want to make sure you guys know I'm every bit as disgusted as you are. Governors DeSantis and Abbott from Florida and Texas have decided to fly immigrants, people who are migrating to the United States, regardless of the reason, to fly them to different parts of the country without warning to either the people that they're flying or the people that will be receiving them, just flying people all over the country and dumping them. They're human beings, and they're playing political games with actual physical lives. And they're joking and talking about how maybe if other people had to deal with it, they'd understand. They're human beings that they are lying to at the originating site, and they're putting them on vessels, and they're sending them places that are not prepared for them. So they land somewhere where they're not prepared, where the folks who are there in the new host city aren't prepared. These are elected officials that are doing this. And so if you really believe that you have a problem, in the time that it took you to arrange for private airfare, the time it took you to file a flight plan, because more than one person did it, there were people involved in this effort, the time it took you to send someone down there to translate, to put them on planes and get those planes back, hire the pilots and all of that jazz, you could have come up with a better solution. And you're an elected official, which means you could have come up with a solution. If you're an elected official in a state that gets folks migrating from other countries on the regular, you can come up with a plan. And just blaming it on the president, whoever the president is, blaming it on the president is not a plan. Come up with a plan. It's a political stunt where you actually used human beings as if these people had no humanity. I think the ones who put them on the planes are the folks without humanity. And these are the same people who will drag out God and Jesus and talk to us about how they're Christ-like and how they're Christians. And I got to say, the God I was raised to believe would not be okay with that behavior. But you know, who buddies up to them is our governor. Our governor looks to those two states for ideas and suggestions. All I can say is thank goodness we're not a border state, because it would mortify me to think that our state was involved in that kind of activity. We're not far off. We're not far off because James Langford thinks we're a border state. So I want to mention it. It's nothing for us to do except that we have to continue to vote for people on the federal level who will come up with plans. What this demonstrates is that right now, the Republican plan is just to point fingers and blame. They are not doing the work of legislating. When you're elected to office, you're elected to do actual work, not just be on TV, but do actual work. And instead of coming up with real plans, they're coming up with stunts. For shame. And that's all I can say. And I hope that our current governor doesn't get wind of it, doesn't get whiff of it and try to participate. I want to believe that folks in Oklahoma are better than that. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I could go on and on. So that's the national news. And I hope and pray that it doesn't become Oklahoma news. Secondly, let's talk about Oklahoma news. One, I just want to remind everybody, in case you've forgotten, we still have a teacher shortage to the tune of over 1,000 teachers short for public schools. We have less. We need 1,019 more students to fill. I mean, more teachers to fill the needs to match the students that we have enrolled. Now, that's in public schools, and that's the reality. It's based on children who are enrolled right now. I don't even want to talk about vouchers. We need to deal with what's going on right now, and I've not heard of a plan, a real plan to address what is happening right now from our current governor, because he's so busy planning for this voucher scheme that he has out there. We need to stop him before he can make it a reality. We need to stop him. We need someone in there who will focus on, he's crowing about the money that he has in savings when he could spend some of that to make sure that we have enough teachers. He's not. He's just bragging about how much money we have in savings. And he's starting all of these committees and commissions that aren't charged with doing real work. It's just so that he can say, see, I started something. As you can tell, I am so ready to quit STIT. I am so ready for a new governor, and I hope that you are too. We have 53 days left. We have 53 days left. I literally caught myself talking to strangers this morning at a garage sale, trying to make sure that they're registered to vote, and pulling up my phone and showing them how to request their absentee ballot, because it's that important. With every encounter, we need to make sure that the folks that we know are educated about what's going to be on the ballot and how it is that they're going to cast their vote. Everyone we encounter, it's that important. We cannot stay in the direction that we're going. Can't do it. We can't. We have got to shift directions. And fortunately, our candidate for governor, the Democratic candidate for governor, Joy Hoffmeister, is neck and neck with the current incumbent. The way we get her across the finish line is that we show up and we take some folks with us. We vote in numbers that they can't deny. Talking about the teachers crisis, that is Gina Nelson, the candidate for superintendent of public instruction. That is what she believes to be the number one crisis in our schools, is the teacher shortage with teacher flight. And that will be her primary focus. It'll be the number one thing that she puts attention to. It's the number one thing that's going on right now. Not the made up culture wars, not the manufactured problems that the other guy is doing, but the real issue. The real issue is we are short by 1,000 teachers. So it's important that we show up. Here is a big reason, other than the reason I've been talking about all week, of why Governor Stitt has to go. We are one of the states who are fortunate to be able to participate in what I like to call direct democracy. And that's our ballot, our initiative petition process that ends up with ideas come up by regular folks that gets on the ballot. And so because of the initiative petition process that our state has, we've been able to expand Medicaid, which expanded access to health insurance to over 200,000 additional Oklahomans when that passed. 200,000 folks, more folks had access to affordable health care because folks signed their name on a petition. We put it on the ballot, and the people of Oklahoma said, yes, that's what we need. That's how we got criminal justice reform. And that's how we got medical marijuana, because the people put an issue on the ballot, and then the people voted for it. We didn't wait on what happened at the legislature. We decided. And so now there's another petition initiative that went through. And a couple of months ago, you might go look it up, I did a whole thing where I explained how we got an idea from an idea to a petition to the ballot. Well, a group of organizers, not associated with the party, but a group of organizers decided that they wanted recreational marijuana or adult use marijuana on the ballot. Because what that does is it reduces the criminalization of a substance that, frankly, a lot of Oklahomans use. They went through the process. They got it approved by the Secretary of State. They collected their signatures. It went through the slowest possible process ever to get the signatures counted. I'm going to go on a little tangent here. we employed a new company to count our ballots electronically. It's supposed to be automatic and it's supposed to be faster. And this process, it took 3 times as long as our processes in the past where we had a human count them. And that's important. So they got the signatures. They got more than enough signatures. And then the Secretary of State's office took forever to count said signatures. And they had to count them before it went to the next process. And they didn't count them in time for it to be on the ballot in November. The governor gets the opportunity to say, yes, put it on the ballot. But they dragged the process out because the organizers of that petition collected enough signatures and turned in their signatures weeks early because they wanted to make sure that they got counted in time. Turned them in weeks early. And the Secretary of State's office waited until the deadline to pick it up and start counting. So they inserted a delay there. And then they took 3 times as long to count the signatures. And we didn't make the deadline. They didn't make the deadline to get this on the ballot. The governor and the Secretary of State's office are in the way of the will of the people. They had enough signatures, which means a certain percentage of Oklahomans signed their name to a petition, and they had to go through it, make sure that they were eligible, signed their name to a petition and said, put this on the ballot and I would vote for it. And the governor and his cabinet members said, I'm afraid too many people might show up. Let's drag this out. I don't want to put this on the ballot in November. We'll figure out another time to put it on the ballot. Interfering with the will of the people. Another form of voter suppression. Another form of voter suppression. And it's shameful. This is why we need to get the king of corruption out of there. He has to go. I choose joy. I encourage you to choose joy. She is all over the state. Find out where she's going to be. Listen to her. Let her earn your vote. If you get an opportunity to hear her, I believe that she will earn your vote. This is what we have to do. Educate yourself. Go out. Find out where they're going to be. Hear what they're saying. Search the internet because they're still doing virtual forums. Search the internet. There's a governor's debate coming up on October 19th. Pay attention to that. We have got to get the word out. We've got to get our current governor out in order to change our state. And perhaps we might be on our way to being a top 10 state if we change leadership. So that's what we need to do. You guys have a great weekend. I was out today. The wind was blowing. Everything was great. It's a great time to go knock doors or drive a candidate around. We need to reach as many voters as we can, so that we can turn out the vote and elect new leadership. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll be back here Monday at 4:15.